Talent Talk Tuesdays is all about harnessing your God-given talents to live with greater clarity, purpose, and joy. You are wonderfully made, my friends. May all we do be for God's glory. Welcome to Talent Talk Tuesdays. I'm Lisa Mladnick, and this is part 2 of my Freedom Story series. Today's Freedom Story is about a homeschooling mom I'll call Elizabeth, who is very high in empathy. Now, empathy is something we talk a lot about in our culture, but there are various ways to define it. American Heritage's online dictionary defines it this way: the ability to identify with or understand another's situation or feelings. Now, that's absolutely true, but it's an intellectual aspect of empathy, and our story of Elizabeth will take us deeper. In fact, the owners of the Clifton Strengths Assessment, the Gallup Corporation, define empathy as a talent theme. That means it's a lot of different talents working together, and they use much more dramatic language. Here's just a snippet. Listen for the powers of intuition in this theme. You can sense the emotions of those around you. You can feel what they are feeling, as though their feelings are your own. Intuitively, you are able to see the world through their eyes. Whew, wow. Think if the whole world had this talent, but not everybody does. So the strength of empathy has great emotional depth and powerful intuition. So it's also extremely sensitive and can be overwhelmed by overexposure to the emotions of others. That means people high in empathy kind of are like sponges for emotions. And so there's only so much they can take. They've got to really manage themselves. So Elizabeth, our homeschooling mom, is a very lively and curious person who started exploring her natural talents within months of the death of her mom from cancer. So she was deep in grief. And though she was still upbeat and still doing a great job with her, working and homeschooling, caring for her family, she was also really enjoying her Clifton Strengths report. But during one session, she mentioned that during her mom's cancer treatments, she'd been a coward. And as she said it, the word coward was heavy with sorrow and shame. When I asked her about it, she explained. She said that throughout her mother's illness, she'd gone to every single appointment, every treatment. So here's this high empathy person going into the chemo room more than once a week in a room full of people really suffering and receiving their treatments. And she felt terrible because she just couldn't stay the whole time. She would have to walk out of the room, take a break, walk around, pray, and then she would come back in again. But because it hurt her so much to walk away from her mother's suffering, she felt ashamed and she felt like a coward. So I said, Elizabeth, someone high in empathy, being in a room full of people getting chemotherapy, is like someone with no skin on walking into a salt mine. She was really quiet. So I said, you took breaks, but you kept coming back and showing up for her over and over again. So Elizabeth was quiet, kind of emotional. And finally she said, Lisa, thank you for reflecting that back to me so that I could see my empathy not as a weakness, but as a strength. Do you see the perspective shift from the belief that she had to be a less feeling person to be brave? That while serving others and alleviating their suffering, that somehow wisely taking breaks was a sign of cowardice, that she was failing. So Elizabeth quickly shifted to a new vision of herself as a brave person, caring for her mom, bringing her to every treatment, no matter how much it cost her emotionally. So that now when she grieves and she still feels the loss deeply, she's able to remember that her time with her mom was a time of courageous love, commitment, and strength, made possible by a little self-care in the form of breaks. So if you or someone you love is high in empathy, know that this talent is easily misunderstood. Because you're highly sensitive, because you can become emotionally overloaded, you might reach a point of overwhelm at times. Don't ignore it. God made you this way for a purpose, and all of the talents have needs and limits that have to be honored so we don't burn out. Another thing that's important to know about this talent theme is that people high in empathy walk around with an invisible neon sign on them that says, "Come to me, tell me your troubles, I understand." And that means a lot of people come and unload. Now, whenever we're standing in a natural talent, our brains light up and we get an endorphin payback. So people might be sensing that the empathic person is kind of feeling rewarded by being there for them and going into that deep emotional place with them. And that's true. But what they don't often recognize is that the empathic person also needs the reverse to happen, for other people to say, "How are you feeling?" and just listen. Okay? So empathic people absolutely do understand other people's troubles. That's not an illusion. And intuitively, with a high degree of accuracy, and they can help other people understand their own feelings and express them and feel a lot better. It's a wonderful gift. But in order to experience true freedom, you're going to need to take breaks and cultivate relationships where someone else can listen and be there for you. You may have to break some long-standing patterns, but people can be surprisingly flexible if you give them a chance. So thanks for listening. You're wonderfully made, my friends. I'm praying for you. Please pray for me too. God bless you.